Hi, I'm Monty Pallin. I'm a medical oncologist at the City of Hope Comprehensive Cancer Center in Los Angeles, California. So, papillary kidney cancer is a pretty rare variety. It's about 15 to 20% of patients with kidney cancer, and I would say it's largely been ignored. Truthfully, there really hasn't been a standard treatment in this setting. Some of my colleagues have done studies looking at agents like sunitinib. There have been response rates quoted from 0%, literally 0%, up to perhaps 10 to 15%. So, really, no great options for this disease. So, in SWOG 1500, we compared sunitinib against three putative MET inhibitors. We've said for a long time that MET may potentially play a really critical role in the disease biology of papillary kidney cancer. So we felt it was really essential to look at agents that hit the MET proto-oncogene in its product. So we looked at cabozantinib, crizotinib, and savolitinib. What's really interesting is that the two specific MET inhibitors, savolitinib and crizotinib, actually fizzled out fairly early in the study. And in fact, those two arms of the study were closed prematurely. But our study did meet its primary endpoint, showing a significant improvement with progression-free survival with cabozantinib over sunitinib. And this is really the first standard treatment we now have for the disease. So the data was simultaneously published in The Lancet, and we're very excited to get it out there. It's really interesting as you look across the three different MET inhibitors we used in SWOG 1500, crizotinib, cabozantinib, and savolitinib. Crizotinib and savolitinib we thought would have actually greater specificity for MET, and therefore, we thought that those might actually have some of the more potent responses in the disease. What we ultimately found, though, is that cabozantinib was really the winner here versus sunitinib therapy, and cabozantinib is a dual VEGF and MET inhibitor. So I think it's important to keep in mind that perhaps VEGF, which is the classical target now in kidney cancer, probably plays a role in disease biology. So it's just as important to target that perhaps as it is to target the MET receptor. If I can be honest with you, when we accrued to the SWOG 1500 study, things didn't necessarily go as planned. The study was projected to enroll somewhere between 6 and 7 patients per month. Ultimately, I calculated that we averaged about 3.5 patients per month. Having said that, at the end of the day, I think we really had a very clinically relevant and meaningful result. It took a while to accrue. I always thought we might be on the chopping block because of that, but ultimately we've generated the first signal of activity in the disease, and I hope this will be perhaps a lesson that when we're doing these rare disease studies, even though we're optimistic at the outset and we think our accrual is going to sort of race ahead in this magnificent fashion, maybe it's healthy for us to build a little bit of caution into those estimates and to actually allow a little bit of flexibility and perhaps permit these studies to accrue a bit more slowly given the disease rarity. So as yet, we haven't had an opportunity to look at the genetics of patients in SWOG 1500. I think it's going to be a really important thing for us to look forward to. I'm really pleased to note that my colleague, actually one of my former co-residents, Brian Shuck, has really done a phenomenal job in obtaining grant funding through the NIH, the National Institutes of Health in the U.S., to do a detailed genomic annotation of the patients in SWOG 1500, and that's going to get at this issue of MET status. There certainly was something interesting that we observed, for instance, in the savolitinib arm and crizotinib arm. If you look to some of the previous experiences with those drugs, like the SAVOIT trial for savolitinib or the CREATE trial for crizotinib, it's clear that those drugs had better activity in MET-altered populations. So I think Brian's work there is going to be really essential. So look for that perhaps late in 2021 or perhaps in 2022.